Welcome back to East Texas Now. Let's head now to Senate Bill 1305.
In upgrades and repairs to the Central Heights water system, additional improvements are still needed. Upon a successful transition, ANRA will immediately initiate the process to design and construct $4 million in system improvements. This is a locally agreed upon bill, and I do have witnesses for all parties here today.
Well, if we have witnesses, they haven't signed up yet. Or did you say resource witnesses?
This
You just
says
said witnesses. Of course, I was sort of talking.
have witnesses from all the parties.
Okay. I appreciate the layout in there. Some of the questions I had when looking over this bill over the weekend was it was being transferred over. I didn't know if the new taxing entity or the new entity it was going to had constituents that were not included in the city's constituents, and therefore opening it to other taxpayers to pay on something that had been covered by the city taxpayers, if that made any sense, on there, just sort of looking from that. So without any witnesses signed up, I will have those. Kelly? Oh, yep. Kelly, if you will turn in a card afterwards, but we'll go ahead and take your testimony and keep the train running.
Chairman, yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, thank you. Good afternoon, members of the committee. My name is Kelly Holcomb, General Manager, Angelina River Authority. I'm in favor of the bill. Here's a resource witness today.
Kelly, I appreciate that. So my question was, in not knowing the geographic coverage of this, is the water system have additional people it serves more than the city of Nacogdoches?
No, sir. It's actually the reverse. The Central Heights water system resides 100% outside the city limits of the city of Nacogdoches. So they are not taxpayers of the city and have no additional customers. The city doesn't have any additional customers beyond that geographic area. I'm not sure that's the question.
So it's going from the city to the water system. So the water system doesn't have taxpayers, but has customers that would charge from there.
Retail water customers.
Retail water customers is, and I guess the question or the concern I want to help alleviate so I can be supportive of it, is that those water customers that are outside the city aren't going to see rate increases because of taking over from the city, the system.
Not as purely a function of being transferred from the city to the River Authority. Water rates are going to increase as a result of the improvements, the $4 million in improvements the River Authority is going to be making on behalf of the system.
On behalf of the system, but okay, so of the $4 million that's going to be spent to improve, will that benefit the current ones that are outside of the city, or is that $4 million for the benefit of those that are in the city?
Only for the portion of the system that is being transferred to the River Authority. So the $4 billion that is going to be spent to be Texas Water Development Board loans, and it is strictly for the area that is going to be transferred to the River Authority, not the city of Nacogdoches.
But the rate increase will be for everybody in the system?
No, within the Central Heights portion that's being transferred.
Only the piece that's being transferred would see water rates increases. Okay. I mean, Kelly, you get where I'm coming from on this, which is I'm trying to make sure that somebody who's not in somewhere is going to then facilitate something that they didn't maintain, they didn't do that aspect.
Correct, yes, sir.
Senator Eckhart.
Am I correct in my understanding that the city of Nacogdoches, which has no constituents in the Central Heights water system, has laid out $3.8 million in upgrades so far?
Yes, ma'am.
So actually, I think the reverse has been occurring currently. City of Nacogdoches took on this water system, paid for repairs for constituents that are not within the city limits.
That's correct.
Okay.
And is seeking to move the water system to the River Authority, which is the more appropriate entity to pay for these improvements to keep the water system running.
You are correct. The current the current citizens of Nacogdoches are subsidizing the water rates for those customers outside the city in the Central Heights water system area.
Okay. No, hey, that's why we have these hearings. Better understand what we have is you just read the bill sometimes and without some of the other details.
I do have a follow-up question.
Yes, ma'am.
How many other water systems does the River Authority own?
3 at the moment.
And so the improvements, I believe that this was covered in your question, Senator Springer, but the improvements to the Central Heights water system will be charged back to just that water system and not carried by the River Authority's whole system.
You are correct. The
Thank
River
you.
Authority does not have a system rate. It is utility by utility restricted.
Thank you so much.
Ma'am.
Well, I appreciate that clarification, because I know we had a bill we passed last session that would allow water system to go take another water system over and bring that rate with them. And it was really to help the failing systems and be able to quickly move to make sure they had water. But I appreciate that very much. Thank you, Kelly. Anybody else? All right. Thank you very much. Does anybody else wish to testify on, for, or against Senate Bill 1305? Hearing none, public testimony is closed. Senate Bill 1305 will be left pending, subject to the call of the chair.